The BJP's allied troubles continue to mount. On a day that the BJP is busy persuading NDA ally, the Lok Janshakti Party, to stay in the fold, a former ally, Upendra Kushwaha of the Rashtriya Lok Samata Party, officially joined the opposition alliance in Bihar. The BJP has been facing discordant notes from allies over the last few years, but these have become sharper since the party's loss in the recent assembly elections. So how much do these allies matter to the BJP electorally? To speak more on this, I'm joined now by political analysts Neerja Chowdhury and Amitabh Tiwary. Welcome to both of you, and thank you for speaking with us here on BloombergQuint. Ms. Chowdhury, I'm going to start by asking you whether you look at these developments as significant, because on the one hand, you have the Shiv Sena that has declared it won't fight with the BJP in 2019, but continues to be part of the central government. You have the PDP, of course, that has split and moved away from the fold. But these two today, Upendra Kushwaha and the LJP, how much do they matter?
I think, these smaller parties may be very small in absolute numbers, but they are often political weathercocks. They sense the mood on the, at the ground level and make their moves accordingly. So whether it was Jitin Manjhi representing the Dalit opinion, whether it's Upendra Kushwaha and with Ramvilas Paswan's party, LJP, also flexing its muscles. Kushwaha has of course left, and that's an OBC party. So Bihar does not look very good for the BJP as of today. Nitish Kumar has been also able to flex his muscles. He's managed to get them to promise that they will give his party 15 seats or thereabouts, and that's a very large number for BJP to concede. And as you say, TDP leaving, these are not very good signs. And Shiv Sena, anyway, we don't know what the Shiv Sena will do, though ultimately Shiv Sena will have to go with the BJP, otherwise they themselves will face problems. But they are insisting as part of the agreement that they be the senior partner in the assembly elections next year in Maharashtra, and that no matter what their tally, it will be a Shiv Sena chief minister. So that's the kind of promise they're seeking from the BJP. So all this shows a weakening of the BJP in the perception battle. I mean, it's all started, we don't know where it's all going to end, but these signs are not very happy signs for the BJP.
Amitabh, you agree that the biggest hit, if any, because as of today, the BJP doesn't really need any of its allies, and perhaps that has reflected in their treatment of their allies. Even the allies have been happy with that equation or acceptable of that equation so far. That is changing now. Do you think it's the allies also responding to how they perceive the political winds shifting?
See, of course, I mean, if you look at the political landscape, there are 340 odd seats in which BJP is in direct contest with Congress or regional parties. And there are 200 odd seats where it needs the support of allies. Out of that 200, BJP and allies won almost 110, including TDP, so the earlier part of NDA. So what is happening is that with the BJP's loss in these three states and its inability to form the government in Karnataka, and a lot of theories being framed around BJP will fall 50 seats short of majority, or 80 or 100 or 30, is making some allies jittery, and those allies which are not getting prominent space in current NDA are jumping the ship. So RLSP in that sense, I would say, is not a big player in Bihar. It's a marginal player. It was most likely to not get the seats what it got last time. So that is why it is going to MGB or Mahagathbandhan and demanding its fair share of seats there. But if you recall, RLSP was inducted into NDA to nullify JDU factor, which is Nitish Kumar factor. And with Nitish now back in NDA, probably BJP feels that RLSP is not required. Mind you, RLSP is going into MGB, and MGB will also have a problem of plenty. So they have RJD, they have Congress, they have Manji, they have Sharad Yadav, they have RLSP, they have NCP. So there also the seat distribution is not going to be easy. In case of RLSP, it is purely a personal decision of not getting adequate respect and due in NDA.
I don't know, Amitabh, if you'd call it personal, because that seems to be the problem with all the allies. If you see what the Shiromani Akali Dal has been consistently saying, if you see what the Shiv Sena's prime grouse it all comes down to feeling like they've not been treated as equals by the BJP, which with that mammoth victory in 2014 didn't really find the need to accommodate them anymore. Will they find the need to accommodate them now in the battle which is yet to come?
No, see, I mean, as you yourself said, they had 282 seats, so they did not need any allies. So, of course, BJP over the years has developed a big brotherly attitude where it sort of pushed off the allies and rubbed them the wrong way. But now even BJP realizes that probably they need those allies. But all of them, they also cannot accommodate. So RLSP is a victim of that, or is a casualty of that. But if you talk about Akali Dal, I mean, there's not much debate as to the number of seats Akali Dal or BJP will contest in Punjab, and if NDA wins, then of course they will get their share in the ministry as well. The main problem now, as Neerja ji said, is with Shiv Sena, because BJP needs Shiv Sena and Shiv Sena also needs BJP, because the other two partners have distributed seats among them 24 and NDA had some 40 odd seats or 44 seats from Maharashtra. So Shiv Sena is going to be crucial. That has been angry with BJP for some time, but that is again more to get maximum number of seats in the seat distribution. Of course, BJP showed them their way in a sense, because BJP almost won the elections without Shiv Sena in Maharashtra. So there is that grudge factor there between those two allies, but both need each other, and most probably will come to the table before the Lok Sabha elections.
You know, Ms. Neerja, I want to ask you about the problem of plenty that Amitabh was referring to, that on the other side of this political divide, you have a host of smaller parties perhaps who see bigger benefit in joining the Mahagathbandhan in some form of the other, and they are going to struggle with seat distribution, aren't they?
No, that's going to be a big problem. You know, I was in Uttar Pradesh yesterday in Lucknow, and the buzz was that the Samajwadi Party and the BSP had almost come to an agreement. You know, the formula that was being bandied about was, I'm giving this an example, was 38 for Mayawati's party, 37 for Samajwadi Party, 3 for RLD, and they will leave 2 for the Congress, because the feeling was that the Congress was asking for too much, around 20 seats, and it doesn't have the ground level strength. And the Congress says we have to be given respectable number of seats for us to be a partner, particularly after the 3-state win. So this kind of tussle, and here the number of parties in Bihar that they will have to accommodate, and each will want 2, 3, 4, and there are so many of them. What is left then for the RJD, which is now reviving? There's a lot of sympathy coming for the RJD. So it will be a very difficult exercise. It'll be interesting to see how Tejasvi Yadav deals with this, something that his father Lalu Yadav in prison was so good at. So I think, you know, the parties will have to be flexible, sensitive, and realistic about their real strength in the larger, in the interest of the larger fight. But whether they will do that is another matter.
Okay, let's talk about political perception in that case, and I'll come to Ms. Chowdhury on this. How does it look to potential voters if the BJP says, forget this, we're going to go it by ourselves, whoever wants to come along on our terms is welcome, but we know what we stand for and we are the power center, and then they talk about this narrative of sort of a khichdi getting formed on the other side. Do you think that helps the BJP in a sense, and they don't really need these small parties and need to take them along?
that's not an option that BJP can afford to exercise this time. Because remember in 2014, where Mr. Modi and the BJP peaked at 282, the scenario is not, the atmosphere is not quite what it was for him in 2014. They face huge challenges, though there's a large section still that says in 2009, we are now voting for this party in state elections. 2019, we will look at Mr. Modi. There's still a large section. There is also a section, whether it's the farmers, whether it's unemployed youth, whether it's Dalits, whether it's minorities, whether it's traders, upper castes in North India, because of the policy of reservation, that are getting very disaffected, disenchanted. So things are not what they were. And therefore, and particularly with the 31% that the BJP polled in 2014, 69% being on the other side, and if a large chunk of the 69% unites, which they will do in some states, where they're showing signs of uniting, then it can be trouble for BJP. Therefore, that's not an option it's going to go for, I suspect. They will probably stoop to conquer. They will want more allies rather than less. And they will have to placate their, they will have to placate these allies, existing ones, as well as reach out to newer ones and ruffle, smoothen ruffled feathers. I suspect that's what, rather than say we are going it alone, come if you want, other parties, will say okay. We don't get a respectable kind of treatment.
Amitabh, that question for you, do you think it serves the BJP perception-wise, it serves them better to, not make too much of a fuss about this ally trouble?
No, it does help the BJP, because BJP will then try to prove or try to walk on the narrative that a stronger government is better for development, and the small allies. It also proves the point of the BJP that the small allies, just for the sake of power, are jumping ship from here to there. So ultimately, BJP will try to say that a stronger government is necessary for development. And you have to remember that India is not the 1996 India where we could afford a Deve Gowda or Indra Kumar Gujral government for 11 months each. I mean, it is at an important point in its history where it cannot probably afford a Khachdi government, is what the narrative of BJP will be. How much people believe that, how much people accept that, we'll say it only in April or May. But one thing is for sure, when impossible is possible in politics, nobody said that Vajpayee is losing and he lost. Nobody said that BJP alone will get 282 seats in Lok Sabha in 2014, and they got. And now everybody is saying that BJP will fall short of 50 and 100. You never know. They might also cross it and go up to 300. So that's also one possibility which we cannot ignore.
Absolutely. Well, interesting times ahead, but I think the big takeaway is that these specific smaller regional parties also act as weather vanes of which direction the political winds are blowing. Thank you so much for joining us.